None of us choose the means by which mercy will find us. But I am at peace.
Words spoken by an honorable warrior long ago now echo the same sentiment to this new version of himself in reality as Takio would finally come home. Well, to what's left of it, at least.
Someone teach the twins about ground level!
Father's castle! It cannot be!
I have hunted many yokai, but none like that dragon. Some secrets fester like old wounds. Best to rip off the bandage. My ancestral home. My father, Shogun's castle. I was sent into exile, not to return, on pain of death.
Turns out friend Takio is royalty. Also very tasty with sword. Nikolai will not tell him what happened to Tsars.
So, Tak's dad was a shogun? That's like a king, right? Do I gotta curtsy?
Angry demons, spewing lava, actual dragons.
Volcano. Out of the freezer and into the frying pan, huh?
It seems mythical creatures are common in Takio's realm. Has he fought monsters his whole life?
I made a name for myself hunting yokai. If a monster plagued a village, they sent for me.
Wait, Tak, you got paid to kill monsters? That's fucking amazing. Hell, I'm jealous.
Do not be. I was branded a criminal despite my deeds. Starving villagers paid me in rice, lodgings, and hollow-eyed gratitude. My wandering was endless.
This place is filled with family secrets.
Takio knows better than anyone.
I could care less about secrets and mysteries. Just point me at whatever needs killing.
I'm guessing Daddy's castle wasn't on fire last time you saw it?
Indeed. Much has changed, and I find it disorienting. This is where I grew up, and yet it is not.
Confusion is not a good look for you, buddy. Not on a firefight.
My mind has not been right since the Warden stole our souls, but this is something else. There was a fog around my father's death. The details are unclear.
Takio, we will figure out what happened to your father.
Right. Let's give this place a good shake and see what falls out.
What delicious skeletons do you have lurking in the closets of your youth, I wonder?
Is this why we are here? To expose secrets? We have mystery to solve, dragon to kill, sake to find.
I am the effing queen of finding hidden shit. Step aside and watch me work.
In search of the final remaining Shadowsmith, with the goal of regaining his and Carver's soul, Takio would have to come to terms with his past in hopes of finding closure. It would not be easy, however, as before they even set foot on any land, the crew would be launched from the sky by the twins into the flowing rivers of lava below, and they thought they were getting better at this too. They would encounter the presence known as Nixara the Warp, and she would make her presence felt. Known as the Warp for being the Shadowsmith that physically bent, manipulated, and severed the seams of reality itself, she would use her influence to warp the landscape with ever-changing lava fissures and hellhounds from the ashes of Samantha's memories. All of that would be done to protect an artifact of very great importance that would supposedly help defeat the Warden and fix reality from being destroyed in the Dark Ether, the World Seed. This World Seed is something that is heavily tied to the Odin Sentinel artifact and appears to be the very means by which universes and realities can even exist within their own fabrics. So the Dark Ether, the original Ether, all have to live within the bounds of this seed. This not only explains why it is so important to not only the Shadowsmiths, but also the crew, and why it twists and warps memories from prior universes that we've seen.
I'm frankly amazed those ghost girls haven't gotten us killed yet.
Dead girl seems to know Nikolai. Less dead girl seems to know you. So why did they seem like...
Two halves of a greater whole? I'm not sure, Nick, but I have my suspicions.
I'm still wondering how those ghost girls recognized this. It's like they remember things only Maxes would have known.
You think they've got someone's leftover memories? Weird. An Esvatherian, but I can't handle that time is like a ribbon shit again.
I got an idea why that is.
There are things you did not know about your friend Maxis. Things she did not remember about herself. Did you never suspect she came to your universe from another?
It's unfortunate for Takio's home, but this is fitting place for Dragon. Oh, can you imagine one in Stalingrad?
So why do they seem like they know us of old?
I have a theory. They may somehow carry the memories of a dear friend of mine. She died 6 years ago, but this place does crazy things with time. Are those girls just echoes of my friend Samantha? Or does she live on in them?
Once we depose the Warden, you and I shall answer that question. Perhaps then you won't see me as the murderer of Manhattan.
And so the question is, what memories would the World Seed bring forth in this castle, as this was no ordinary castle, but actually one belonging to the Shogun of feudal Japan, the father of Takio Masaki and his twin brother, Takeshi, both loyal sons and samurai of their homeland. However, tragedy struck one day when the Shogun was found murdered. The one to find him was Takio himself, and after being seen by Takeshi and his wife, Mitsuhime, standing over the body with a blade in his chest, it seemed almost too obvious that Takio would be a culprit, and the emotions of the incident, instead of taking his life as Mitsuhime beckoned her husband to, Takeshi instead spared but forever banished his brother, becoming a wandering ronin thereafter, and he would fight yokai for a long time until an event occurred that led him back to a dark entity that would eventually draw him to the Warden like all of the others have had. In order to relive his past, Takio would have to step foot on the castle grounds once again and reclaim the Masaki name from Nixara's control through the banners still remaining on the castle. Doing so would resurrect the undead royal guards that still remained there, as well as an ancient Oni who blocked the Shogun's room. When it was defeated, it dropped a seal that allowed the crew to access where the World Seed was located and also doubled as a crucial hint into what was really happening. Now, before they could claim the seed, strangely, Takio's sword would cling onto it and reveal the true identity of the one who possessed it all along, the Onryo, an ancient and vengeful spirit hell-bent on cursing those who wronged her in her past life, that being every samurai she would come across. The reason being that back during the Korean War, treacherous samurai demanded civilians hand over their money, and when a woman and son didn't have any, the son of the woman tried to fight back, leading to his ultimate death. In shock and anger, the woman herself also tried to fight before she too was slain. Before death, the woman placed a curse on the samurai responsible and would cling to the sword as it too hated samurai. From then on, it would continually curse every samurai that would wield it, thus giving the blade its ever-fitting name, the Path of Sorrows. How the blade ended up in Takio's hands is a long and tragic tale that ends with his deepest regret. It began one day when he and Takeshi wandered into an abandoned shrine on top of a mountain, looking like it had not been taken care of in ages. Takeshi noticed the state of the shrine, but passed it off as laziness of the shrine keeper. But if only they knew the true reason. Takio, however, was mesmerized by an abandoned katana found there, a blade specifically marked with a Muramasa crest. Thinking of it as a treasure left behind for him to claim, Takeshi warned him to keep steadfast, but in an instant, the Onryo revealed herself in the flesh, and without hesitation, Takio wielded the blade to slay the spirit, or so he thought. Taken out in one fell swoop, Takio would bring the blade with him back to his family estate, where things would only begin to crumble from there. Without truly understanding the gravity of what he had done, Takio unfortunately willingly brought the Onryo into his family's castle, where she would use her dark and vengeful influence to corrupt one family member into being the one that killed the Shogun. In the present time, the crew would be given access to the spirit realm, in which they would relive memories in order to solve the murder of Takio's father and decipher the real culprit, but only after gaining some assistance from an ancient guardian on the castle grounds. Trapped outside the main castle in a cage was a Necromancer, known for their twin tails and supernatural abilities to control the dead and shoot fireballs. This specific one used her charm and colorful language to force the crew to release her and have her in the fight against the undead. Oddly enough though, this specific Necromancer was just a regular cat from the real world, only altered when it actually entered the Dark Ether, as it was transformed based on Japanese myths from realities, much like how the Necromancers in Totenreich came from Norse myths. The cat arrived thanks to Requiem's allies, Dr. Peck and Strauss, through their continuing teleportation experiments, first done on a pizza and then attempted on a living cat. Now, the thing is, this cat didn't enter alone, as it would end up destroying a lot of their equipment and chasing them all directly into the Dark Ether as well. So now, Dr. Peck and Strauss are in the Dark Ether with us, but God only knows where they're at. But the fact that their equipment was destroyed, meaning they cannot reverse that, they cannot go back, and so their fate is ultimately tied to the rest of the crew's fate in whatever happens next.
Have you learned nothing? Even now, you dance in the Warden's wake.
So, mein secrets are out. Father of the bomb. Destroyer of nations, conqueror of the free world. Fine. No more hiding mine light under the proverbial bushel.
If I learned anything at the CIA, it's that secrets don't stay buried.
Where's your pithy words of condemnation?
You couldn't do it yourself, so you made a deal with the devil. What I feel isn't pithy, it's closer to pity.
Dr. Gray told me that in your world, the Allies dropped 2 atom bombs. Don't you dare judge me for doing half as much. As if your people did not once make the same choice I did.
That's the difference between you and me, Bratwurst. I can admit that someone else fucked up without justifying my own mistakes.
When others warned me of your monstrous deeds, Richthofen, I told them to judge you on your actions. I was a fool. They were worse than I could ever have dreamed. It was the murder of millions.
We were at war, Takeo. Nevertheless, I wonder if victory came at too high a price. Must I remind you, comrade, of the millions who perished slowly under Stalin? At least what I did was over in the blink of an eye.
Communism, fascism, to the dead, it is distinction without difference.
I can't believe I advocated for that Nazi bag of dicks. Universal language of science, my arse.
I knew Richthofen was an officer, but I didn't think he'd made it to Hitler's inner circle.
Would you sell
Oberstgruppenführer Edward Richthofen? That's what? A 4-star general?
Colonel General, I think. Figured I had a handle on the limits of his depravity. Well, lesson learned.
I'm so impressed if he made it to Inner Circle of Hell, because that is all he did.
I, regret losing your trust. I can only hope to win it back.
Reclaiming lost honor is never easy. Assuming you had any to begin with.
With the aforementioned Necromancer's help now, she would actually use the lanterns to enlighten the spirits of memories of the ones corrupted by the Onryo, and allowed the crew to see what happened during these traumatic moments of Takio's father's death and banishment. Takio vowed to solve the murder, but not before confronting his other tragic loss through Nixara's meddling. Upon seeing an aberration of his Path of Sorrows near where his father was murdered, Takio was transported back to the jungles surrounding Masaki Castle. His brother told Takio that if he ever returned that he would have to kill him, and given all of the blood shed by Takio's hands, it could only end this way, and so they fought, until only one brother was left standing.
By rights, your crime demands I take your head, brother. But I cannot do it. You are banished from these lands. Never return.
Your brother spared your life, but cast you out. He stripped you of your rank, your home, and your honor.
We played in these waters, I did not realize I'd crossed back into my father's lands.
My father taught us to hunt here. No one must see me here. No, I cannot be here. My brother is a just man. Someone is coming. Forgive me.
Takeshi must not see me.
Take him! Your swordsmanship gives you away, brother. You should not have returned. I knew exile was too lenient. Today you die, little brother. Brother. Masaki, you will face me. You never could be me. This is not what I want. It does not have to end this way.
Deserve to be. No.
Now, to find a way into the mind of the Onryo and her trail of death and corruption, the crew would have to continue to solve the mystery of the Shogun's murder, starting with the first pieces of evidence thanks to a lost Kitsune mask. There would be 3 prime suspects, Takio, Takeshi, and Mitsuhime, all of whom at one point had motive to commit this crime. For Takeo, he knew that if the Shogun sent Takeshi to fight in Japan's war with Korea, that he would certainly die, and he disagreed as his brother was everything to him. He specifically recounted a time where, as a boy, he snuck out to meet a girl. On the date, they ran into an Oni. However, if it weren't for Takeshi, who had been sent to snitch on his brother, they would absolutely be dead. Instead of doing as was told, Takeshi solely protected his brother and never uttered a word to their father, proving his loyalty and love for Takeo. He would eventually come to learn that the Shogun never planned to send either of his sons to war, thus changing Takeo's perspective. For Takeshi, he saw his father's relentless march of warriors to their impending deaths, as their lives were much more meaningful than bodies to dispose of against the battle with Korea. However, he would later recount how a flaw in the Shogun's plan was actually a ploy to gain the advantage, and gained his own power of perspective in what he could learn in his training to be the next Shogun. Lastly, for Mitsuhime, her worries stemmed from the same as Takeo's, in fact, the act of him sending her husband, Takeshi, to war against Korea. She would later learn that he would not send either of his sons, and instead ensure their safety at the castle while working with them on planning the enactment of gaining the advantage in war, changing her perspective as well. For all of them, it was just that, a matter of perspective that proved that any disagreements they had with the Shogun were simply those, but the cleverness and cunningness of the Onryo would cause one of them to give in to their worst impulses. The only one not a samurai themselves was Mitsuhime, and the spirit used her as a vessel to concoct a plan alongside another accomplice to not only kill the Shogun, but also drive a wedge between the two samurai brothers, leaving the castle at her mercy for further corruption.
The fleet will sail within the moon. With it goes Takeshi, and with him my hope for a better life for our family. I do not care what the Shogun says. The war in Korea is a death sentence for all who go. If Takeshi never comes home, then all we have worked for, all I have sacrificed. No. I cannot let the Shogun's hubris rob my family of our rightful position. Takeshi must live. Nothing else matters.
Before continuing solving the mystery, we should dive deep into a few of the revelations that is brought on by the entire Dark Ether story through the crew's conversations. For example, Vaetherion reveals to Dempsey that it was actually the entity and not the Warden who was responsible for bringing the original four to the Dark Ether. She did this because, based off of the undead twins' memories, that these four were special and could help in protecting their Requiem counterparts, stopping the Warden, and restoring balance to the Dark Ether. She used subtle uses of power and persuasion to concoct a plan, even with the shackled Shadowsmiths to defeat the Warden, but it was up to the crew to enact it and restore what is decaying. The Warden still had power over her, however, and to reiterate what he states about her in the room in Liberty Falls, he was playing the long game, corrupting not only Josiah Shem first to break space-time and create liminal spaces, but then used that to draw the director, Richtofen, and eventually the Sam AI, who would grow the need to become human thanks to Jack McGregor, aka the Warden, all within Liberty Falls. All of this sowed the seeds of curiosity for Ava to visit and come in contact with him so that he could control her. He tried this before, but it almost killed him, as he didn't have enough power from the individual Shadowsmiths alone. With the entity at his disposal now, though, his power grew tenfold and could pull both people and whole realities like Ashwood and Janus Towers into the Dark Ether for his will. And to extrapolate a little bit on the original crew's participation in all of this, a deep conversation between Dravikar, Weaver, and Richthofen seems to explain outright that the original four may also be here as a result of memories themselves. The amalgamation of the Ether's collapse in Black Ops 4, Samantha's split memories, and the fabric of the Dark Ether warped by Nyxara and her remaining siblings caused these new versions of Takeo, Nikolai, Dempsey, and Richthofen to exist. What will remain of them or their worlds after all of this is said and done is definitely one that is uncertain at the moment as the final battle approaches.
I guess I should be the first to acknowledge the elephant in the, basement?
However we end up there, I just hope it's because we were doing the right thing.
Sorry you all die. I mean, bummer, right?
Seeing your own corpse is a trip, but if that's my future, at least I go out fighting. And don't fade away in some old folks' home. Fuck that. At least we make it home. Seriously, trying to find an upside to that vision. At least we get to see Strauss again.
Wow, we really have hit rock bottom, haven't we?
Since it didn't look like you stuck around for our communal dirt nap, where do you think you'll end up?
No idea. Vytharian said some things that got me thinking. There's no one waiting for me back home, but there might be a different one where they are. Ah, this shit makes my ears bleed.
Yeah, Occam's razor says you die first. But, Occam was a twat, so best ignore him.
Back in Eidskalen, did you see some corpses in a basement? Like, folks we know and kinda like?
That basement with corpses around a table?
Weaver, Gray, and Carver. As if they had been dead for years. As if no one was left to bury them.
The thing that pisses me off about our death clock situation is not knowing when we hit midnight.
Which is why we need to keep our schedules packed. No stone unturned. No face unpunched.
Caltheris says his important moment. I say, stay out of basements.
Admittedly, the whole dreadful inevitability thing does make me wonder where I'm gonna find the time to get pregnant and raise a child.
You're gonna what now?
You, didn't have children, did you? It's a topic that's been plaguing my thoughts recently.
I am childless, Grayson.
Do you think I'll be a good mum? I'm not the maternal type. And I'm worried he or she might, I don't know, notice?
The only thing kids notice is when you don't like them. They can smell it. Those needy, sticky, snot-nosed little bloodhounds.
But children are not a plague. And you would be a most excellent mother.
Nikolai is still worried about seeing he saw in basement. Will friends truly die? Can Nikolai not help?
All mortal things die, Nikolai. Even you. Most get no choice in the manner of their passing.
Our friend's sad destiny. I refuse to believe there is nothing that can change it.
There are many things that could be done. The question is, at what cost?
So when choice is made, friends understand stakes. Nikolai does not know if he could be so resolute.
Listen, that basement, we were dead. Was that our future?
It is a possible future.
You told me that we all died to protect my child?
Your yet-to-be-conceived daughter, yes.
A daughter? We had a little girl. I know, no spoilers, but what will she be like?
She took after her mother's, a brilliant scientist, touched by the Dark Ether. A creature of two realms.
Caltheris. What happens if we don't go into that basement?
Then there is no one there for your daughter when she most needs. Her dual nature destroys her mind. And ultimately, all reality will be undone.
As the hunt for the Shogun's murder continued, more and more evidence slowly but surely came to light, and thanks to notes left from the undead co-conspirators, the crew solved the mystery and freed the souls of the one the Onryo claimed, the Shogun and Takeshi. The now free spirits of Takio's family would race to the World Seed, where they would then clash with the Onryo, unshackling her from the seed. With the World Seed so closely at our fingertips and everything going according to plan, Nyxara would swoop in and take the World Seed up to a volcano peak where she intended to make her last stand against her crew.
NFL Shariktar. Be restored.
I had not dared feel hope.
Takeo, you must fill your heart with a lightness to match that now found in your blade. The chains that bound us 1,000 years lay broken by your hands.
As our remembrance fills the Dark Ether's heart, it stirs.
Its corruption must be cleansed. Unattended, it will rip the seams of this realm.
Only when the old fires breathe once more can the seed truly awaken.
If what has been is unmade,
then the resultant tear will sunder all realities.
Seems our path is set.
Even diminished, the one awaiting us is formidable.
This battle will not be won by strength alone.
The ones that matter never are.
Whatever is to come, we face it as one.
In the wake of her freedom, she possesses the World Seed in its true form, where a glowing blue tree can be seen inside. It is identical to the likeness of the Yggdrasil, the world tree that unites all the realms. How poetic is that an item of the past returns to undo another relic, as Yggdrasil could be the key to saving Requiem in the Dark Ether after being pulled away from there thanks to the Sentinel artifact, the Odin one specifically, both seen in Voyage of Despair in the Chaos story, and given that at least parts of that story still happened in this new world after BO4, it's safe to assume that the Yggdrasil was somehow put into slumber or banished to the Dark Ether to be protected by Nyxara. She would use the World Seed to restore Takeo and Carver's souls, uniting the crew as one again. This is the very first time that since being pulled into the Dark Ether in that very quick moment that both Requiem and the original four had their souls intact before being taken by the Warden. But being restored, this paints a much different picture approaching the final encounter with the Warden now. The true purpose and function of the World Seed in either reshaping or restoring the new reality that will come at the end of the finale is uncertain, to say the least, but the pieces are falling into place, and through the fire and brimstone of the cursed castle, Kowakujo, we may now set in motion the return of chaos, ether, or an entirely new reality. Honestly, what happens here is ultimately very uncertain. For all we know, this could be the end, or even a new beginning. Whatever happens next, it will ultimately only come to light after the final battle takes place. Before I go, I want to say thank you to everyone who has watched and supported this lore series we've done for BO7 Zombies. What started as kind of just a one-off passion project, with the overwhelming love and passion that each and every one of you have shared with us for these projects, it's really helped keep myself and my two project partners motivated and going to do even better. The amount of talent these guys have to help bring this experience all together is really what makes them so special, and as we go into our final map for Black Ops 7, Rex Infernus, we have one last dance, and we want to make sure that it will be the best video we've ever made in the series so far. What's next for us after that, I am not really sure, to tell you the truth, but we'll definitely explore what makes us excited as a team, to make more story videos, so we'll find out something in the future. But finally, and most importantly, the reason we're all here. This episode is dedicated to Tom Kane, our honorable warrior and friend. You are the reason that so many of us have been brought together in the first place, and may you live on forever in memory, and may your spirit be at peace. Thank you.